Way down yonder to the land of the pine, thumbing my way up to North Carolina. Looking at the road, pray to God I see headlights. Oh, hey. Christian here from Wit and Wisdom from the Midnight Rider. How we doing today? Well, I wanted to talk about Uber Lyft safety. One of the biggest things in the news is getting into a car of somebody that's not your driver and maybe not even a driver. They're just some random person hanging out down there. Same thing goes if you are an Uber or a Lyft driver. You should know who you're picking up. Good idea to have a picture on the app, even if you're just a rider. Definitely have to have a picture on the app if you are a driver. And if you are getting into a car, you should know what they look like, what their name is, what their car looks like, and the license plate number. Do not get into the car until you ask them their name and look at the license plate on the car. That's your responsibility to keep yourself safe initially. So, once they ask me if my name is Christian, I say yes. They look at the app and see my picture, and it should just look just like me. Handsome devil. And I should know who they are. And one of the things I say is, okay, Snoopy, picking up Snoopy. You ready to roll? Yeah? Make sure their seatbelt's on. Those kinds of things. Another thing that I do for my riders, after making sure everybody is safe, I have mints. I always check to see if the temperature's okay for them. I like it ice cold, but maybe they don't. It's just one of the reasons why I keep the air blasted until I pick somebody up, or the window rolled down until I pick somebody up. I also ask about music, and we've already established in other videos that I listen to just about everything, except for some mumble rap and some screamo rock. But I'll even listen to those for you if that's what you want to listen to. Well, another thing that goes right along with safety is you shouldn't expect more from your Uber driver than maybe you do from a close friend. You shouldn't get into the car if your faculties are so far gone that you don't even know how to use a seatbelt. And especially if you don't know how to speak. Somebody you know should be picking you up, or you shouldn't put yourself in that situation in the first place. But let me tell you about this time when I drove to the middle of Council Bluffs to a nice, wholesome establishment called Lipsticks. When I pulled up, I think it had been closed for a little while, and it looked to be some bouncers standing outside. They saw me pull up, and they kind of looked at me and glanced and made sure it was me. And then they opened the door, and they sort of helped this man out of their door, but they do not help him to my car. He is trying to walk in a straight line, but he is not. He is, wherever he's leaning, that's the way he's going. I get out and open the door for him because I don't think that he could open the door. He gets in the front seat, which is fine. He can't speak at all. He's trying to speak. I believe he thinks he's telling me something, but they're not. They're unintelligible words or sounds or grunts or I don't know what. He is holding a stack of ones or money. I assume it's ones. This thick. I would guesstimate by what I know a bundle of 100 ones looks like. I would guess it to be closer to 150 or more. And he doesn't have a very tight grip on it because he doesn't have a tight grip on anything, including reality or his own self. I will not tell you his name, but it rhymes with Dan Seep. He is wearing flip-flops, shorts, and a t-shirt. He It smells like he's been there for a very long time. And since I know where we're going, I make sure he's buckled after watching him try and buckle himself for quite some time. And as soon as I buckle him before we even leave the parking lot, he is completely asleep. And he is sitting in the front seat next to me. And even though he has a seatbelt, when I turn right, his body goes to the left. And when I turn left, his body slams against the window to the right. He is completely passed out. Now, what I want to talk about is safety. If I was a dishonest person, which I'd like to think I'm not, I could have taken that money. He never would have known. If anybody argued, I could have said it was a tip. He specifically told me to keep it. Not to mention, I probably could have gone through his wallet, seen what's in there, and even on top of that, if I was really, really dishonest, and this might be a clause that you don't know about, but if you vomit in my car, part of the rules or user agreement of signing up for this is that you pay me up to $250 for the cleaning of my car. So I could have submitted a bogus claim on vomit, and he never would have known. Well, I took him from the middle of Council Bluffs all the way to his apartment in Midtown Omaha, mostly right off of 80 and 60th Street, to an apartment complex. This goes back to a previous episode where I discussed apartment complex and how hard it is to come and find you. Well, it is equally as hard if my passenger is unable to communicate where he lives once we get in this apartment complex. Because usually the address to the apartment complex, and in this case it definitely was, is basically to where it's right off the main road. So I don't know if that's a clubhouse or what. I did not have the specific building number, and this apartment complex had several buildings and several levels, meaning the street goes up and then back down in several places. So I proceeded to drive around in this parking lot for somewhere between 25 and 27 minutes, with intermittent times waking him up, trying to ask him if this is where he lives. Does this look familiar? Where he said, and then went back to sleep. And then I would say, okay, do we need to go right or left? And he'd say, which I'm not sure if is right or left. So that was difficult. And I am ashamed to admit it, but I'm not sure how long we would have driven around if I hadn't. But after driving around for 25 plus minutes, I actually stopped in the middle of the apartment complex, screamed his name several times so he would wake up and look at me in the face. I did not touch him or hit him or shake him, although he would have never known if I did. I did consider looking in his wallet so I could see an apartment number if it was on his ID, but that's a line that I'm not ready to cross. But I got him out of the car in the middle of the apartment complex and asked him where he lived, and he immediately started walking for the trash dumpster, which I know is not where he lives because there was not apartments that way. So I screamed his name and he turned around, and then I realized that he had left his shoes in my car. So I had to help him put his shoes on, which were just flip-flops, but not in my job description. So after all that was said and done, he's still holding this wad of cash and started to walk away, presumably towards his apartment. And I watched him for about 3 minutes walk away, and he did turn the corner around the side of some garages towards a building, and I assumed that he does know where he lives, and he was just unable to tell me. But here's a lesson in this. Whether you're a boy or a girl, If you get so intoxicated that you can't tell people where you live, then that's a real problem. I admire the fact that you're using Uber or Lyft because you're drinking. However, even with that said, there's a point where you have to stop so you can tell people where you live. Now, I don't know if he lost his money or if someone took his money. I like to think and sleep better knowing that he made it to his apartment with his money. I could have helped him put it in his pocket, but I did not want to touch the money at all. So, keep your Uber and Lyft driver in mind, and don't get so intoxicated that you can't navigate your way back to your house, especially if you live in an apartment complex. If you live in an actual house and I'm pulling up to a street that's 1, 2, 3, 4 Main Street, I'm probably going to be able to find that street and that house and that door. Hell, I will even help you out of the car and walk you to your front door. But if I can't find your house, then at some point that's on you. Christian here from Wit and Wisdom from the Midnight Rider. Be safe, stay awake, don't do drugs, kids.